Welcome to Comcast Newsmakers. I'm Leslie Weidenbenner, and today I'm here with Representative Tim Harmon. He's a Republican from Freeman. Representative Harmon, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So this is your first session at the General Assembly.
It is.
Tell us about how things are going.
Things are going great. It's a learning process. There's a lot of information. It's getting to know people and getting to know the process.
What has been the biggest surprise for you?
Well, just the amount of information that we receive. We don't have a staff. We're responsible for researching all the bills ourselves, reading them line by line, and asking the right questions.
So you are a small business owner, and I wondered how being a small business owner impacts the decisions that you're making at the General Assembly.
Well, all bills, I bring a small government, less than approach. I always look at the bills and I research them. I ultimately want to do what's right.
So one of the bills that you're backing would change the way rules would be passed by state agencies. Can you tell us about that and why it's important?
Well, it would allow the Administrative Rules Oversight Committee, part of the legislature, to chime in before any new regulation is enacted. And it gives us an opportunity to issue an opinion. We can't trump the governor's authority, but we could issue an opinion whether we like a rule or not.
Do you have any concern that that might drag out the rulemaking process a little bit more, or do you think that might be a good thing?
It wouldn't drag it out because there's still time constraints that we'd have to follow. It just gives us an opportunity to review rules in a proactive measure as opposed to reactively coming back and rescinding rules through the legislative process. This is a proactive measure.
So the House has already passed the budget.
Mm-hmm.
How did you feel about the budget, and what are you looking for the final spending plan to do?
Well, I think it's a good start. I mean, we had to increase the spending for roads and education. I'd like to see a tax cut as well. I mean, there are tax cuts for the inheritance tax repeal in there, but I'd like to see a tax cut as well. And so those are the three things I'm hopeful for.
Governor Mike Pence has proposed an income tax cut. Do you think an income tax cut is a good idea, and do you think, can the state afford a 10% income tax?
I think the final numbers in April are going to determine what the tax cut possibilities are. Is it a good idea? Well, I think anytime money comes back into Hoosiers' pockets, it's a good idea. So I would like to see one, but hey, we've got priorities to fund.
And so you also signed on to a bill that would require drug tests for some welfare recipients. Yeah. Why was that important to you? Well,
I put it on my survey. 88% of my district wanted to see some sort of drug testing measure, and I think it's reasonable for the taxpayers to have that measure in place.
So one of the things that the big decisions the legislature has yet to make is whether to expand Medicaid. Where do you stand on that very complicated issue?
Yeah, I don't want to see an overall expansion, but we are going to take an approach that we're going to have to fund it more just because we're expecting more people to enroll in Medicaid, and so the funding will go up just by natural means.
Some states around Indiana will be expanding under the federal health care bill. Do you think ultimately Indiana will need to do an expansion?
I don't know. I just like to see the size and scope of government as small as possible, and that's where I stand.
Very good.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you being here today.
Okay, thank you for having me.
All right, take care. I'm Leslie Weidenbenner, and this is Comcast Newsmakers. Join us again.